And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Shouts out to you. Shouts out to all y'all for tapping in with us here on the Doing All Right. We got some pretty good work for y'all. The draft is getting closer and closer. We got Draft 101 coming up. Check my Twitter, check Brian's Twitter, check 1053 The Fans Twitter, check my YouTube post. It'll be there. The address is there. It's free, and it's Whataburger. So if you want to come, ask some questions, shake hands, and eat some Whataburger, we will oblige you. Before we get started, Bryan Broaddus, one of our listeners, because we got listeners at all different ages and demographics, So there's a young man at Alcorn State, Steve McNair's beloved Alcorn State. He's a huge fan of us. My guy JoJo. He's a frat boy now. He crossed over. He's a Kappa now. You know what I mean? So we was having that conversation about sorority and fraternities the other day.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it.
I was real confused.
You wouldn't know it. But JoJo's a Kappa now, so I want to give a shout out to JoJo, man. Shouts out to you. You did it. Congratulations. Keep your grades up so you can keep holding that down, you heard? And thank you for watching me and Brian every single night there, JoJo. Shouts out to you. Brian.
So JoJo's he's like our scout on the ground at Alcorn. He's our...
You can call it that. But he's a young dude, and he watches us all the time. I'm like, man, I'm always blown away by the youth. You know what I'm saying? I understand the old people watching us, but the youth taps in and they call us Onk. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey man, we all over the place, Brian.
Man, that is so cool. Well, JoJo, congratulations on your fraternity, and congratulations to Alcorn State. Yeah, I'll tell you what was great about Alcorn State Steve McNair tape. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like it was shot from the Goodyear blimp America. It was like they show the whole field
from the roof.
All you saw was this guy moving around, and then that ball just getting launched down the field, and then somebody coming down with it, and then they would cut from the end zone celebration to the band and the drill team in the stands,
shaking.
And there would be a good 35 seconds of touchdown celebration, and that band was just rocking.
That's us, boy.
And the girls were all doing their stuff, and it was a party in the stands when Steve McNair was playing. And
Brian. Funny enough, Brian. I'm from Natchez, Mississippi, so Lorman is like 10 minutes, you know what I'm saying? 10, 15 minutes. So I used to go to a bunch of Alcorn games. And when I was a young up and coming football player, I went to McNair's camps. I used to go to his football camps. And I met him.
That must have been fun.
I met him and he signed.
How hot were those practices, by the way?
Blazing. Blazing, Bryan Broaddus.
Hey, I could imagine, like, you guys from Mississippi, it's the Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. Those guys that you guys have played football down there, it is so hot. Yeah. I remember we went to a practice at Grambling, and their stadium sits like in these trees.
Yep.
In the air, there's just and they have like rocks on the practice field. And I'm like,
raccoons run across the field, of course.
I went back. I told Tom Siskowski, I was in pro personnel at the time with the Cowboys. I told Tom Siskowski, I said, listen, Tom, if I would draft all those players from Grambling. And he goes, what? I said, I would take all those kids. I go, those kids are like bouncing off boulders. They're popping up and they're practicing. It's about 1,000,000 degrees. There's no wind. I go, those are some of the toughest kids I've ever seen in my life. And I went to school at LSU. Yeah. And those kids up in northern Louisiana, shout out to all the kids in those schools a long way. And thank you for hanging out with us.
Shouts out to our guy JoJo. Shouts out to everybody watching, man. Brian, the Cowboys, they signed a player.
Hey. Got one out of retirement, right?
Yeah, man. The rent was due, Brian. You know what I'm saying?
Got a house payment we got to make.
Brian, if you learn any of my terminology, because I got a lot of it.
Yeah.
Rent due guy. Brian, when they Michael Gallup coming back to play some football, that rent due. I know what that's all about. All of a sudden, Brian, I know how it is to not want to play football no more. You know what I'm saying? You got to love football to practice every single day and love it. And I love football. I wouldn't want to practice every day no more. But something to make you get your ass up and go practice, right? Do. So what I didn't know, Brian, is that he was,
you got to stay on scholarship. That was another one.
Yeah, that's another one too. Yeah,
I had to stay on scholarship
because you can't afford that. You can't
afford that. Can't afford. Yeah.
I didn't know that the Cowboys. It was very secretive, but I heard that he worked out last week. That he came and he worked out, and me and you walk past the fields and all, and we didn't see it. But he worked out, and apparently he was in some kind of shape. But Brian, I'm weary of retired. I don't want to play football no more, guy. You know what I'm saying? Because rent due. So in my mind, shouts out to my guy Rome, Cowboys fan talk. The first thing he said when he went on social medias was, "Oh, does this mean that we're drafting a wide receiver now?" And boy, your ass ain't out that hot water yet, because I don't think Saahdiq Charles changed nothing in terms of going into that damn draft. Because Saahdiq Charles, Brock Hoffman, TJ Bass, they all the same people to me, Bryan Broaddus. Are you in the same boat with me?
Yeah, I don't think that I don't think this changes anything at all. I think that maybe, like I say, the workout was probably pretty decent. They probably felt like he was in pretty good shape. Maybe they could get him in even better shape. The fact that he has played, he's lined up, he's been a starter. There's some things that they can draw from here, but that's not keeping me from doing anything that I need to do when it comes to this football team. Like I say, there was when he came out of LSU, there were a lot of red flags about this guy.
Yeah,
and that's my alma mater, so I know a lot of the things that were going on, but a very talented guy at the time, for a guy that size, the footwork and all the really pretty damn good. He played guard, he played tackle. They kind of moved around, so there was some positive things about him as a player, but there were also some things that he was that type of player where the coaches were interested in keeping him around and kind of, turning away as some of the things that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've grown up a lot since then. And this is, I think, more about let's bring him in. Let's see, there's some things that you got to almost think about here, Voch, when you're looking at bringing veteran linemen in, especially ones that are potential just backup guys.
Sure.
We're going to have to figure out what we got with Joe Milton. And how do you do that? You figure that out in training camp.
Yeah.
You figure that out in preseason games. We only got 3 of them now.
Sure.
We've only got 3 preseason games, but we got to figure them out, right? Yeah. So you put a veteran lineman in there late in the game, maybe playing the second half of a game.
Keep him clean.
Keep him clean. Instead of playing like converted and nothing against Isaac Alarcon, who tried to play tackle and tried to play guard and tried to play, but you have a veteran guy.
Give him a look.
A veteran guy blocking on potentially a priority free agent for the Los Angeles Chargers, or blocking on a priority free agent or a 7th round pick for the Los Angeles Rams or the Raiders or whatever.
Sure. But
you have a guy who has played in games, and while he's playing all those snaps, he's kind of getting in shape, and you're kind of figuring things out, and this is probably one of those situations right now where there's like thinking adding a veteran guy could help us in preseason games. And I know it's a weird to think about it now, but down the road when you have those games and you want Joe Milton to play into some games, you want the best blocking you can in front of him to get the best evaluation you can. Mm-hmm. I think this is where Charles kind of fits that mode for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense now that you mention it, though, Bryan Broaddus, because if it was one criticism we'll have is that when we're trying to evaluate quarterbacks,
we're getting sacked.
He's throwing to Andy Jones, and there's the 4th string guys in front of him. You know what I mean? So we don't really get a good idea for him.
We can't get a feel. It's like with Trey Lance. You try your best when he was involved in those games. You try and put the best line out in front without having to tax your starters. You know, you're trying to, and so maybe Saahdiq Charles against a priority free agent for one of these other teams will look pretty good and will at least hold up in a game to give us an evaluation of your quarterback. So your quarterback could then throw to receivers who also need to be evaluated. Right. You know, you don't want Joe Milton running around every damn snap trying to throw the ball. No. You know, maybe you get a little pass blocking for him, maybe you get a little run blocking, and then, you know, you kind of use this guy for what he is right now. If he plays well enough and he gets in shape, maybe he does become a backup swing player for you. Guard, tackle, flexibility. But I'm not counting on it. But like I say, it maybe helps Joe Milton get some protection when we need to give him a look.
Man, Bryan, you said something, man. You know, way back in the early portions of the show, you was talking about that all-corn film, how it was all zoomed all the way out, man.
God, it was so far away. But you knew McNair was throwing it.
Man, Bryan, that reminded me of that film from University of Tennessee when they lined them boys all wide up there and they got to zoom out.
And let me know when you figure out these Tennessee wide receivers, please.
They got one cat on one sideline, another cat on the other sideline. Everybody else bunched in the middle. All nonsensical like that, Bryan Broaddus. Man,
let me know. Let me know.
I was watching Dante Thornton today, Bryan Broaddus.
Let me know.
From Tennessee, Ty Felton from Maryland, Denzel Burke, the cornerback from Ohio State, and Zeke Biggers. We might as well ain't even watch him, but we watched him from Georgia Tech, the one Tech.
Yeah,
Bryan, out of those four, you want to go ahead and take a little shot at which one of these guys you think I favor or fits my eye?
I kind of feel like that. I'm going to rank them for you, like you like me to do.
Yes, sir.
I think you're going to like. I think you liked Thornton. I think you liked Felton, the receiver. Next, I think you liked Burke, and then I think you liked Biggers, the defensive tackle. That would be my guess.
That's a fantastic order of operation you have there, Bryan Broaddus.
Mm-hmm.
See, I grade on a curve, you know what I'm saying? As long as you get the first two right and the last two right, then I'll pretty much give you a passing grade. You passed, Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Felton more than Thornton.
Okay.
And the only thing kind of separating them is that Felton's done it a little more than Thornton.
Sure.
Thornton ain't got much of a sample size for me, for me to believe in.
Yeah. I thought you were like the fact that there were like, he had 26 receptions and 6 of them for touchdowns.
It's ridiculous, ain't it? That's ridiculous. It's so stupid. But that's another reason why I can't trust him, right? Because he's a cog in this weird offense that we don't know if it's going to translate. I was having the same conversation about Jalen Hyatt a couple years ago.
That's what I was trying to. Yeah, you're right.
And what they'll do with Thornton, Bryan, is they'll isolate him way over on the field by himself, way on the other side of the field by himself, to where it wouldn't make sense for the defense to go that far. So not only do you have one-on-one coverage, but it's really one-on-one with just a guy and a big portion of the field, and you just can't run with the guy. Now, Bryan, I had to watch 5 films.
Yeah.
Because Thornton only make a catch a game.
He does.
And I had to go find it. I had to go find it every time, Bryan Broaddus. But Bryan, that size, they're gonna love that. His ability to run, he can fly, Bryan. I think every time he catch the ball, which only 26 times, he catch it away from his body in stride, and whoever's chasing him, they can't catch him.
Right.
26 catches, 6 touchdowns. The ratio is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I do think if they get hands on him, he could be a little hard to bring down because he's so long. That's another common theme that we kind of realizing too, that these tall wide receivers kind of hard to tackle. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of see a little bit of that in Dante Thornton, but I can't trust that because I don't really see much of a route runner from him. You know what I'm saying?
The route tree is very, very small.
He's either running forward or he's running a slant or a deeper variation of a slant.
Yeah.
Shit works.
The post. Yeah, the post.
It works, right? It works. But I don't know how practical that's going to be in real life football. So I think the challenge that we have with Thornton, Brian, is we have to project, will this work in a real life system?
Yeah.
Will this project in a real life system? And Brian, I think Tennessee made the deep ball very easy for him.
Yeah.
But they ain't throw nothing else to him besides that or some short little stuff. I got him in the 4th round, Brian. I mean, pardon me, in the 5th round. I got him in the 5th round because I don't really know what to do with him. But these other receivers like Tesla and Horton and all those guys, like they've shown me more. So I got to put them over him. But I wouldn't be surprised if some team took him and put him in a regular offense and he was just fine because he's big and he's tall. He catches the ball well and he's fast. Go ahead.
This is the scout guy in me. This is the 6'4", 200-pound guy that's running vertical routes, and we get burned by Tennessee wide receivers
all the time.
I do have, and I'm going to get burned by this kid. I do have him. I have him in the top of the 5th, but I've got Wells from South Carolina behind him.
Man.
I got Lambert Smith from Auburn behind him. And I got my guy Felton behind him.
You know what, Brian? I don't blame you for that because you scouted in an era where where everybody was trying to get Calvin Johnson and Randy Moss. Like y'all was trying to get the big guy. You know what I'm saying? So this dude fits your eye for real, Brian, and he can run.
He fits my eye, and there's things where I kind of see him running past people, even when they try and collision him or stop him.
Yeah.
And I see you mentioned the slants and the things like that. There's not much the run after catch. The run after catch is after he catches the ball and is running into the end zone.
Yep.
That's the run after catch. That's the run after catch. So I'm going to fall for the Tennessee guy here again.
Man.
I'm going to fall for the Tennessee guy here again.
It gets you every time.
Yeah.
And you got him over our guy Wells, man. That's interesting, Brian. But look, I can't give you a long evaluation on him, Brian. I think his game is very cut and dry. I think that's basically who he is. Man, Brian, that was another wide receiver we watched, man. It's just there was this trend, man. This common theme of these fast running characters, man. These good heighted fast running characters, and you got Ty Felton from Maryland, Bryan Broaddus,
right?
Which is different. He did a lot more things. He moved around the formation a little bit more. I saw him run more routes, and the first thing I noticed was how quick his feet was, Brian. He'll come off that line of scrimmage with those fast feet. And I didn't even look at his combine numbers, till afterwards. I always watch the film first, then I watch the combine numbers. And I saw him being able to move around and run and change his tempo and really get past guys, Brian. I think he did a lot of short, medium, and deep stuff. And Brian, I think the Maryland quarterbacks is just horrific. They didn't do him no favors, Bryan Broaddus.
Not at all. It
was terrible. But watching Ty Felton, here we go. Get off the ball quickness. Got a good little stride too, Bryan Broaddus. You know what I'm saying?
He does.
When he's getting downfield, you can kind of see him cover ground quickly, not just with the quickness there, but sometimes I saw him catch with his hands. I think his hands are decent, but he's a bit of a body catcher sometimes too. But tracks the ball well, and I think the thing that's probably going to give him problems was, he felt slight. Watching his film, he felt a little skinny. Whether it be him trying to block somebody, he'll end up on the ground, or him getting pushed around, him getting jammed up by some corner or something like that. He had a hard time with that, so weight room's going to help him. But I got him at the bottom of the 4th, Brian. So I got him behind Higgins, Kyle Williams, and Wells from Ole Miss. Please go ahead.
Okay, man, and good for you for doing that. And here I am. I fell in love with the traits, from our Tennessee guy, the size and the speed. But here's another one. Ty Felton from Maryland. He had a 4.37 40-yard dash at the combine. And there's times where you absolutely see him play that quick. Yeah. And he is, as you mentioned, slight is a great word. I use thinly built player.
Sure.
Who'll play with a burst and quickness. he's used on the outside, in the slot, and out of the backfield. So you kind of get him at 3 different areas or 3 levels. I was really impressed with his run after catch. He had over 600 yards of receptions and forced 26 missed tackles after catch. That tells you something about a player right there where, our guy from Tennessee, he doesn't boast those kinds of numbers, but his touchdown to reception ratio was really, really good. But this kid can punish defenses with his free access. You give this guy free access in routes.
Easy.
He's going to punch you. I think he's got vision for the position. I think now he runs his shares of screens. He had 31 receptions off screens this year, and that was the second most in the country. So you got crossers, deep balls, screens, but he could track it, and his concentration is good to bring it in. I think the awareness to get his feet down along the sidelines, the back of the end zone, these were all very positive things that I saw. Most of his receptions, like I say, came on the hitches, the screens, and he's got a history of playing special teams. So those are, just not as a returner, but he had 143 targets with only 8 drops. And his overall catch and contested rates are kind of lower than ideal. But, he's kind of one of these guys that doesn't have a ton of experience versus press. And sometimes when you watch him with press, he struggled with that. And so I think that, to me, you're talking about a guy that you're betting on traits here. Speed, you're betting on his ability to catch the ball, and then the run after catch stuff too. I like the kid, but like I said, I kind of saw our Tennessee guy ahead of him. And like I said, I had some other guys, like I mentioned, Thornton, him, Wells, Lambert, Smith from Auburn, and then I had Felton in that mix. So Thornton, Wells, Lambert, Smith, and then Felton with that as my 5th round guys.
So the height really got you with Thornton.
Yeah, the height and the speed, speed, and like I said, I'm always guilty of busting on Tennessee wide receivers. And this will probably be one of those cases again where that happens. Where that Thornton kid, but I want to believe that if he got into a system where they would work with him, I just don't think the route tree at Tennessee is very expansive.
No.
And I'm thinking at that size, that speed, that touchdown to catch radius, I might have a player here. I might have a player.
It's gonna take some coaching, man. You know how.
Yep. You're right about that. But you're right about that.
But to your credit, though, if we're in the 5th round or something, hey, just throw the 5th round on him. Let's just throw the 5th round.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna take us a bunch of time to talk about Zeke Biggers, so we can save our talk for Burks. What you thought about Zeke Biggers, Brian? He was last for me. I thought he was a big character, humongous as hell. He batted down some passes. Looked a little lost. That's all I got on Zeke Biggers, Bryan Broaddus.
I think you got him right. I got him down in the others in that 6th round area. He's a massive guy. He's well over 320 pounds. Where he's going to help you is, like I say, he's got long arms. He doesn't always play like a long arm guy. He's going to go straight ahead. And when he can get his hands up, he's going to knock balls down. There's something to that. Somebody's going to bet on the traits, the fact the guy is 6'5", he's 320 pounds, and they feel like he could probably be a 2-gap guy to play there and play against the run, kind of a hard guy to move, but he gives you absolutely nothing as a pass rusher.
Brian, may I read Denzel Burke to you?
Sure.
He was an interesting player, Brian.
He is.
He has his own version of being sometimes guy.
He does.
I think his best potential is press man guy. He could press He could press his ass off, but the man coverage side, he gets a little lost.
I think he's a better zone player myself.
I got right here. He's a much better zone player.
Yeah.
But damn, I'm mad he can't jam people up.
Yeah.
And just flow with them. He could probably.
I don't think he has deep speed. I just don't think he has the ability to carry somebody deep.
I think he has a hard time keeping up with receivers. I think he loses them sometimes.
Yeah.
I think he's a bit of a gambler.
Yeah.
If his press is successful, it gives him the best opportunity.
Best chance.
There are technical flaws to his game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes if a receiver's breaking in, he'll turn his back and turn all around, stuff like that, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I give him a lot of credit for playing against some fantastic competition throughout his entire career.
Watch, the playoff games and all that. You can see some good ones.
But the in-season Oregon game, all them kids kicked his ass. I wrote all this down in my notes, Brian.
Yeah, that was a rough one. That was a rough one for him. Yeah.
Brian, you know, I think Burke has some really good plays where he's playing the ball in the air.
Mm-hmm.
When he's in great position, he wants to play the ball in the air. But sometimes playing the ball in the air gets him out of position.
Yeah.
So look, I think he has good ball skills, but I think his ball tracking is bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Brian, I got him in the 5th round behind Longer Beam and Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
I think with a little bit of coaching, I think he's interesting. I think he's a player that can start and maybe not kill you, but I think some games he'll get you killed.
Yeah, I agree.
That's Denzel Burke. I got him in the 5th.
Yeah, I got him. I actually have him pass because I have Muhammad higher than you do, but I have him in the 5th, almost in the. I think he's better than just the others, you know. I think, but I have him behind Longer Beam, and then Harris is another one that I have him behind. Which let me get my which Harris is that
from Iowa?
The JER Harris. I always type that in my.
He got a weird name. Iowa Harris. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, Jamari Harris.
Yeah.
Jamari Harris. Yeah, who's a zone guy. Remember, 6'1", 190. He's from Iowa. He's a zone guy as well.
Not all that fast.
Yeah. I totally agree with you about Burke. I do feel like that to me that I think he's a better zone player. I think there's times where he could really, like, he's got some natural movement to him. But his skill set kind of leads to him to kind of need to be playing in a zone scheme. I don't think his long speed or his recovery speed is necessarily very good. I think he puts himself in position to make tackles. I think it wasn't always times where he was super reliable, but he got more reliable. I mean, if you went back and watch some other games, he was better though. He's only got 4 interceptions in his career, but he's forced a bunch of incompletes. So that tells you his ability to drive on the ball, I think, is really, really good. There were some times where off coverage that click and then be able to go. So I think he played with his eyes. I thought he got downhill quickly. Like I say, a much better zone player than man. I think he's one of the better players in the country when it came to knocking balls away, but his overall speed is just kind of a limit. And I think that's a problem for him.
Yeah. I think it's so many corners in this draft I would rather have.
I'm with you on that too.
I do think he has enough traits to where he's a project that's worth like fixing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to necessarily put him in the extras per se, but boy, when it's like in the middle of the play, he'll go from doing something good to doing something strange.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
for sure. He's 5, I believe he's 5'10", 186. I think that's what it is. You know, so he's not, we've got some of those guys. Yeah. Actually 5'11", 186. So we've got these smaller zone players. I don't know if he's one of those guys. I mean, smaller slot players. I don't know if this guy is one of those guys. So I had to put him. I put him behind the other guys, like I mentioned, in the 5th.
Tell you what, though, it's a cool little show we just did there. Bryan Broaddus breaking down some of these guys, some of these fan favorites that they've been bothering hell at us about.
Sure have.
Friday we got Raheem Sanders from South Carolina. Raheem Sanders from South Carolina, the offensive lineman Jake Majors from Texas, tight end Jackson Hawes from Georgia
Jackson
Tech.
Hawes. Yeah, this is supposed to be the best blocking tight end in the draft, according to Nick Harris.
I will be tapped in. You know, I watched a little bit of him, and I'm just so behind. I was actually shocked Georgia Tech doesn't run the triple option wing T anymore,
like they used to. Yeah,
they run real football now, and I was just befuddled, but. We'll be watching Jackson Halls and Bryan Broaddus' Miles Frazier from LSU, the interior offensive lineman. I've seen some good things about him. Brian, I don't know what it is about these guys that are supposed to be day 2 guys that we watching down in the 200s and shit. I don't know what it is about these people, but
here we are.
We'll be watching.
Here we are.
Hey, Brian.
We got it. We still got a couple more weeks, man. There's gonna be a point where you're gonna look at me and say, "I've had enough."
That's Monday.
And
That's Monday. That's what, look. When this official 30 visit come out and the day 3 guys from the 30 visit come out, we're gonna watch them, and that's it.
And that's it. I got you, man. I got you.
But Bryan Broaddus, appreciate you, man. It's always fantastic.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, brother. Draft show tomorrow, huh?
They got me on Tuesday and Thursday. I'm learning their lesson, Bryan Broaddus. Double me up. Double me up for the week. So y'all be sure to watch that. Watch all the time, but just be sure you watch Thursday because I'll be there. VOCHLOMBARDI BRYN Broaddus will be waiting to see you guys' comments and Twitter stuff, and we'll be responding to that. We love you to pieces. Until next time, Crown.